Surely that plot device will reveal itself by the end of the video. The Blue Man Group I categorize as an entity that kind of exists. Like a thing that just is. It's just something that you don't really think about. Like, you're born, you age, you die, and then somewhere in between there, you kind of just know what the Blue Man Group is. Doesn't that, like, weirdly make sense? The Blue Man Group are elusive. Their job as a musical variety performance has always been a thing that just kind of happens. And when you kind of take a step back and look at the entire career timeline that they have, it's really interesting and something that's pretty unknown. So I shall make it known. Really quick, don't want to be that guy, but if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. We are barreling toward 100,000 subscribers, and I want that fucking plaque. It really helps out the channel immensely and would get me into the express lane to 100k subscribers. E-begging over. Usually in the modern video essay genre, the creator will kind of give a rundown of what the subject is, like, just in case the person watching doesn't know. But I am dead serious when I say, if you clicked on this video, I think you know who the Blue Man Group are. But just in case, the Blue Man Group is a globe-trotting musical variety performance act, featuring silent performers in all black clothing, sporting a bald head, and of course are painted red. They would go on to make... Nah, I'm just fucking with you, it's blue. I just, like, want to see if you're paying attention. They kind of make Muppet-style appearances, as cameos on TV shows, showing up at live sporting events, and just kind of anywhere they can fit. Because they're a family-friendly act, you know, they don't speak, and they play these curious characters that's entertaining to both kids and adults. It's always a fun time, those Blue Boys. But that's not enough for me, damn it. Why is a great first question. Who were the original Blue Men? Where did they get their start? How do you become a Blue Man? And why do they have 6 fucking albums on Spotify? I know you probably think I'm being dramatic, but I mean when I say the answer might genuinely shock you. So how did this faction that's so engraved in the pop culture zeitgeist begin? A lot of these origin stories are iffy, unreliable, or taken from bad memory or a secondhand account. Would you believe me if I told you I knew the exact date, the exact time, the exact place where the Blue Man Group were born? And it's not what you think.
It's a beautiful afternoon here in Central Park, and yet one group of people on hand today is feeling kind of blue. They're a collective of artists who call themselves the Blue Man Group, and their leader is right here with me, Chris Wing. Chris, why so blue?
Well, it was actually an accident, a rock and roll genetic engineering accident made us this way. It was after this accident, our skin was blue, but also we became interested in all different kinds of music, not just one kind, not just new wave or hip hop or heavy metal or reggae, but we became interested in all those things and more. Turkish music, Japanese music. We became this sort of genetic permutation, and we became interested in everything. And we were no longer nationalistic or single-minded or single category oriented. We sort of decided we would mix everything, and it was this interesting thing that happened. It was so interesting, we thought we'd tell everyone about it. Pop culture just burned so fast, like a bad Coke trip. It just burned out 2 years early. You know, it was good, it was burned, it was moving, happening. You know, our economy was up, things were happening, artists were moving along, news forms of media and electronic media started happening, and there were some good things going on, but it was too much too soon, and it just burned out.
Yeah. Who else had experimental social commentary performance art on their bingo board? 'Cause I sure as hell didn't. A funeral for the 80s. The fucking Blue Man Group? This discovery just shook me to my core. Metaphorically. These happy-go-lucky, family-friendly characters started out commenting on pop culture burnout, the economic crisis, and cocaine trips. The Blue Man Group. I found this extremely interesting. This is the first documented sighting of the Blue Man Group. So how did they go from making New York art statements to being a worldwide variety show? Well, even in the original clip, there's elements of music there. A rock and roll genetic engineering disaster, and this was broadcasted on MTV, music television. The main man getting interviewed, Chris Wink, and two of his blue buddies, Phil Stanton and Matt Goldman, had the idea and wanted to turn it into something more. They were all percussionists, and they wanted to take this blue man persona and turn it into a stage show. So the first obvious element of the crew's performance would be drumming. They said they wanted something tribal and primitive about their shows. Slowly they would incorporate crude and homemade instruments to their show, really keeping that primitive DIY feeling. They'd also incorporate art and painting into their shows, famously playing drums covered in paint, literally mixing music and art. They were inspired by Jackson Pollock, an experimental painter from the 40s and the 50s who used abstract patterns and shapes in his work. So the Blue Man Group wanted to take this primitive and abstract performance and make primitive and abstract art. Sprinkle some fun bits in there like making a beet eating cereal, catching marshmallows in their mouth from great distances, and a 3D holographic light dancer, and goddammit, you got the Blue Man Group. Now, we all know what would become of the Blue Man Group, but what got them so big after their big Funeral for the 80s performance? Well, they were residents of New York City, so after the funeral in 1988, and MTV's coverage of them gave them some buzz, they would start building their brand performing in local nightclubs and bars across New York City, leading to their first big performance at the Astor Place Theater. And this would kind of create a snowball effect. With their instantly recognizable appearances, more and more promoters and club owners would see this and want to get a piece of the action. Their presence was just enticing, so much so that they'd find themselves performing on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 1992.
The hardest thing about my next act here is going to be explaining to my mom after the program tonight what it is they do exactly. They're very strange. Please welcome Blue Man Group.
After the mainstream attention of The Tonight Show, it just kept growing and growing and growing. Shows outside of New York, going on North American tours, eventually going worldwide and just gaining this crazy allure about them. Even if you've never seen a show in your life, their appearance alone is gonna intrigue you. It kind of reminds me of why The Simpsons are yellow. Matt Groening wanted you to be flipping through the channels and then stop at The Simpsons and have your eyes caught by the bright yellow creatures that maybe you'll just stick around to watch the episode. And that's the Blue Man Group. Enough people wanted them and their demand was high enough that they now have residencies all over America, including Boston, Chicago, Las Vegas, New York City, Berlin, and they continue to tour around North America, Japan, and the world. Pretty crazy for three guys in some face paint, huh? After their gradual increase in popularity, it was obvious that between the shows and the multiple media appearances that our original blue dudes, Phil, Matt, and Chris, were going to be stretched pretty thin. So there was an idea. They don't speak, they don't have names, they don't have any other identifiable factors about them besides being blue. Let's make more. With Phil, Matt, and Chris slowing down, it was a very smart decision to add new sets of performers to the lineup. That's why they could play shows at their New York residency, be on tour in Japan, and appear at a live basketball game all in the same day. But then, leads to another aspect of this story that just intrigues me more. How do you make more Blue Mans? More rock and roll genetic engineering accidents? Not quite. The process is actually surprisingly rigorous. Every once in a while, the Blue Man Group will have auditions for parts. Thousands of people apply, and from the documentary I watched about their New York City residency, only 6 people got callbacks. And I know exactly what you're thinking right now. What about blue women? Well, as a matter of fact, there are blue women, and you could apply to be a part of the main cast. If you're invited to these auditions, you take part in an 8-week tryout, where they see if you're a good actor, you do exercises, and see if you'll just be an all-around good blue man. After 3 weeks, you need to memorize your blue man's parts, placements, and all the songs in the show, so you can prepare for the entire rehearsal. And after 8 weeks, they pick a blue man and fucking throw you out there. The documentary I was alluding to is on the Blue Man Group's YouTube channel. If you're at all curious about the real in-depth, nitty-gritty casting requirements of being a blue man, I'd say check it out because it seems really intense coming from a non-performance background. 8 weeks of extreme training and practice. Surely I could do that. Think about it. Part-time YouTuber and full-time blue man. That's one hell of a resume. I could bang some sticks together and be curious. I do that shit all the time. Dude, I could definitely be a blue man. I'm gonna get the gig, I'm gonna move to this city, I'm gonna travel the world, I'm gonna make billions of dollars, and I'm gonna meet Rhett and Link. Damn it, this always happens. Well, for next time. But Jake, what if I can't go to live shows, but I still want to consume as much Blue Man slop as humanly possible? Well, you and my channel demographic are in luck. Not only do they play instruments on stage, they play instruments in the booth. Because they make, in the booth of music, they make music. Yeah, I'm not fucking with you either. Go on your little streaming service and look it up. It's right there, plain English. They have their own original music, a song they did for the Terminator 3 soundtrack, what? And of course, their infamous collaboration with AJR. Not only did the Blue Man Group make an album, they made 6 fucking albums. The Blue Man Group. They've released more music than Frank Ocean. So I had my work cut out for me, to say the least. But I decided to not fuck with the live or compilation albums. Strictly studio releases, which whittled it down to 4. 4 too many, in my opinion. 1999's Audio, 2003's The Complex, 2016's 3, and believe it or not, a week before I fucking went to write this script, 2023's Overjoy to the World. Blue Man Group Christmas album. That surely is a new sentence. Now don't cry for me just yet. A quick scan of the Rate Your Music genres for the Blue Man Group left me intrigued and confused. Experimental rock, electronic, and post-rock. Damn, y'all bingo birds are gonna be fucked up. So how do I review all of the Blue Man Group's music? Easy, I don't. I used my bat phone to call in some favors to the wider music YouTube ecosystem. Something something DVD, something something Red Lobster.
Hey everyone, it's me, Luke, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Blue Man Group's debut album, Audio. Unfortunately, this album has 0 remixes of Blue Dabba Dee by Eiffel 65. So I'm giving this a fucking 0 out of fucking 10. Fuck this shit. In all seriousness, when Jake asked me to listen to this album, I had absolutely 0 clue what to expect. I mean, the only thing I really knew about the Blue Man Group's music and general vibe is that they hit pipes a lot, they get paint everywhere, and when they're on stage, they kind of just stare at you like this. Like, bro, why are you staring at me like I did something weird? I'm just a normal pasty white guy. You're fucking blue. Well, let me tell you, I was actually pretty shocked the first time I heard this album. It was a straightforward post-rock and experimental rock release. It was the last thing I expected from the 3 Blue Boys, but it's also where a lot of my critiques lie. This album is very straightforward and simple, to a fault. Most of the cuts off of Audio have a very similar progression to them. They start off with some tribal sounding drums, and then some atmospheric guitar comes in, and then they both kind of build on one another until it reaches some big crescendo, but that's kind of the entire song structure. A lot of the epic builds on this album aren't really epic at all, and they don't really build to some big euphoric moment. They kind of just build to something that sounds closer to a wet fart. With all that aside, I really do think there are a few songs that are all right here. Synesthetic has a nice guitar riff, Rods and Cones has a nice pace to it, Club Nowhere sounds like a weird Blue Man Group version of a background song from Better Call Saul, and Klein Mandelbrot has some genuinely good progression from start to finish. Sadly though, I don't think Audio is a very intriguing album to me. But hey, if Godspeed You Black Emperor isn't really your vibe, maybe the fucking Blue Man Group is the post-rock band for you.
The Complex. The Blue Man Group's second album was a complete disappointment from the second that I saw the album cover. Because right off the bat, I mean, compare the cover of their first record, Audio, to the one for The Complex. It's complete night and day. You go from this hard-hitting, fiery image to like a Google graphic design infographic. The best way that I can describe the music from The Complex is it's kind of a time capsule of the early 2000s. The entire project feels like overly drawn out, super theatrical Paramore D-sides. It's the kind of music that your middle school band teacher thinks is experimental. It's the kind of music that you'd find on the iPod mini of the edgy artsy character in a Disney Channel original. The album comes in at 14 tracks and it's just under an hour. And if you are wondering, yes, that is way too long to be listening to the Blue Man Group. My biggest thought when listening to this album was, who was this made for? Again, the album does adopt the sound of that like early 2000s pop rock, dance rock genre, but it also has a lot of what I thought the Blue Man Group was, which is banging on pipes. Not to mention the insane list of features with Josh Hayden, Venus Hum, and Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews has a feature on The Complex by the Blue Man Group. So to pack up all my thoughts into a nice pretty box, I'm just gonna call this album underdeveloped and lacking any taste. The decision to take a very popular genre at the time and mix it with Blue Man Group isms feels really unmotivated, and it makes the whole entire project just feel empty. Which again is incredibly weird to say about an album that is literally titled The Complex. More like The Basic. What if they had called it The Basic? Am I right? Am I right? More like The Basic.
Hey guys, first of all, thanks Jake for having me and enlisting me to talk about some Blue Men. So I listened to 3, the third album by the Blue Man Group, and before this I never listened to the Blue Man Group, as I imagine a lot of people haven't. I only really knew them as a performative act, so I didn't really know what to expect with this album, but honestly it turned out to be a really good instrumental piece. Some highlights on the album were The Forge, and Giacometti that had a really interesting vibe. The album was overall a really creative instrumental experience, and it really felt like I was transported to another world. A blue world, perhaps.
My review of Overjoy to the World from the Blue Man Group. Good news, everyone. Christmas just got, 12% cooler.
Wow, what insightful commentary. Yeah, this was cool and all, but like, I felt left out. And I mean, it is my own video. I should probably listen to the music. And weirdly, it wasn't bad. It's fucking crazy that these words have and continue to leave my mouth, but the Blue Man Group make experimental post-rock. The playing isn't bad. I mean, there's not a whole lot of vocal presence here. Shocker, right? Except for The Complex. They got some vocal guests there. I think the biggest issue for me with the music is the pipes. I know it's the Blue Man Group's trademark, but it's a weird sound that makes all the serious post-rock around it sound kind of goofy. Which is a shame, because I feel like there's a really good, decent bass there. Like, these words are leaving my mouth. I am flabbergasted. Now, according to every single college class I've ever attended, with this surface level amount of information, you and I are Blue Man historians. But I can't let this video end here. Something is missing. I've learned about the Blue. I've listened to the Blue. I've applied to become the Blue. But this video could not end until I, with my own 2 eyes, see the Blue Man Group. Yes, I did make the trek to New York City to see the Blue Man Group live in concert. After an early and hellacious travel day, we made our way to Hoboken, took the train in, and then found our way to NoHo until we were standing in front of the Astor Place Theater. Something that didn't click with me until a few days before the show. The Astor Place Theater is essentially Blue Man Group Central. The place that gave the Blue Man Group essentially their big break with their first big venue show is now all theirs. And I find that very beautiful in a way, circling all back around to the Blue Man Group essentially owning Astor Place Theater. I thought it was really cool. So I purchased my tickets beforehand, a little too much if I'm being completely honest, and we made our way up to the mezzanine, or the second floor. After a bit of waiting and some fun text-based gags, the show began. So the Blue Man Group were doing their Blue Man thing, essentially getting the show started. And on the upper right side of the stage, in their own little secret box, was a live band. Not just playing anything they wanted. Literally, I think only me recognized this because I've listened to their music. They were playing tracks from audio. The songs from audio go into the concert. And this kind of leads into one of my points. Like, from doing research and listening to all their music, I felt like such an embarrassing fanboy. When I was with my girlfriend, I'd lean over, I'm like, this song is from audio, their debut studio album. And not just the songs either. Some bits that they do are straight up taken from things they did years and years, decades ago. The paint drum performance, the catching marshmallows in their mouth routine, and even the eating cereal, munching, creating a beat. Which, might I add, they use the exact same cereal that they used all the way back on The Tonight Show. The exact old Captain Crunch box. There's new Captain Crunch boxes. That was a small, insignificant little detail that was very charming to me. I was alluding to it, but there was a lot of impressive live performance stuff here, specifically the marshmallows being caught in the mouth. Like, they were doing that like clockwork. I don't think a single one dropped from my memory. A lot of crowd interaction too, which is super fun. I know the first couple rows had to wear ponchos, just the splash zone, but no matter where you're sitting in the crowd, you have the opportunity to have a blue man brush past you. They even brought audience members on stage, which I thought was really cool, until the first lady kind of ruined the illusion and I figured out that they were all plants. If it really was a random person going up there, I feel like they'd probably laugh or say something to the crowd like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Not silently giggle to themselves like being in on the whole silent Blue Man Group act. But, I mean, is it a huge thing? Not really. New Yorkers are crazy and unpredictable, so honestly, I don't blame them. Overall, it was a pretty fun time, you know? An hour and a half of non-stop Blue Man gobbledygook. Like, I took my girlfriend. I was expecting her to hate this, but she walked away like, yeah, I had fun. And that's a W in my book. And after it was all said and done and the show ended, seeing the Blue Mans and the stage crew and the band come down and give their final bows really just gave me a warm feeling inside, you know? Now, at this point, I might be coming off as a sponsored Blue Man Group shill, but I had my problems with the performance as well. First things first, I know they advertise their seizure warning, but if you are at all photosensitive, take that shit very seriously. I do not have photosensitivity or epilepsy, but there were some times during the performance where I was like, I need to shut my eyes. This is a lot. So definitely take that seriously. I know it's New York and literally nothing there is cheap, but like the price of tickets for Blue Man Group in 2023, I'm be honest, a bit steep. But hey, joke's on me because I ended up paying for them anyway. Also, I think my biggest problem here is this is very much a one and done type of thing. If you don't know anything about the Blue Man Group and you go see them, you're going to have a great time. You're going to think the shit they're doing is crazy innovative, and then you're going to go home like, huh, that was really sick. But from my knowledge, they really don't shake anything up. Like, every once in a while, I'm sure every year, they'll add maybe a new bit or like try out a new performance. But for the most part, if you've seen it once, you kind of know what you're going to get. I'd kind of compare this to a concrete, set-in-its-way Broadway show that plays year-round all the time. The performers get their cues, they understand everything that's going on, and they really don't diverge too much from the original idea that the play was going for, which I find to be kind of a shame. I feel like if the Blue Man Group team and their different residencies would put their heads together and try to differentiate themselves from one another, I think it'd give their performance a bit more replay value. Almost like a Saturday Night Live kind of thing where you can keep the iconic, cereal box munching, drum paint, but throw in some new stuff, really give people a reason to come see the show again. But other than that, I found it fun. If you're at all in New York City and you really got some cash to burn, I'd recommend going. The Blue Man Group stage show goes for a fun, interactive, and live experience that people of all ages can enjoy, and I'd say they knocked that out of the park.
So, what have we learned? Quite a bit, actually. Going into this, I was expecting the Blue Man Group to be just kind of what I assumed it was, just surface level child entertainment that didn't really serve a purpose. But shocker, I walk away this video learning something and gaining appreciation. It might be the super corporate, bastardized version that we know today, but at the end of the day, me experiencing that in the theater was kind of how it was meant to be. Ironically, in the original Astor Places Theater where they had their first show. I think that's kind of beautiful. I think I've gained respect for the Blue Man Group because at the end of the day, that was how the show started. Just a couple of people having fun and trying to put on a unique and experimental performance. I mean, I'd say that's pretty admirable. So, Godspeed you, Blue Man Group. Godspeed you.